Welcome to The Exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I could not be more excited about this interview today. This is a dream interview for me. Not only is she the runner-up of Big Brother 3, she's a Big Brother All-Star. She played on Reindeer games this past winter, and she's on the upcoming season of The Traitors, which I cannot wait to watch, to be honest. And she's arguably, I don't think we even need to argue about this, like the most strategic mastermind in Big Brother history. It's the one and only Danielle Reyes. Danielle, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so happy to do this finally. Reception's
Yes.
good.
Oh my God,
Um,
yes.
it's amazing. So I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good. Life's good.
Great. That was like a mouthful too. You have your resume is pretty deep there.
It's so weird because it's been like, I just did the reindeer games. And so, I did Big Brother 2002 when I was introduced to Reality World, or you guys were introduced to me per se. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been crazy that, over the years, my name is still coming up. And it's just, I'm honored. I'm truly honored. And I laugh at some of the things I read, and I crack up because people are like, oh, she's going to be on this season of Big Brother. And I'm like, nope.
Always. Yep. So you're not in sequester right now for BB26 is what you're
No,
saying.
no, I'm home. Thank you.
Okay. Well, speaking of Big Brother, and we'll obviously talk about your seasons. I'm curious, since the last time you were on was 2006. How much of a fan, like how much did you keep up over the years? Are you like someone who tunes in when you can? Are you a diehard fan? Like where are you at these days with Big Brother?
So I was that fan that will watch it religiously.
Mm,
I watched it all the time. It's like, oh my God. And I think for me, because, as a player, I want to see the different nuances of players coming in. And I always pick, I get fan favorites. I pick I become a fan. I pick
mm-hmm.
my favorite. And a lot of times I go, oh, that person's going to win. Like I can just tell. And then as what was happening for me, and just full transparency, as the show progressed, it was becoming evident I was getting a little heartbroken because the African American was not winning. And
Yep.
not only we were not winning, we were usually the first one nominated or the first one evicted. In Jody's case, she didn't even get a chance to even play the game. So it got to the point where, I started dwindling off.
Mm,
But I always read. And I'm going to give a shout out to Joker's Update. Thank you very much. And
love
so I,
Jokers.
I always read the live feeds, the breakdowns, and stuff like that. I would tune in if something funny happened or some big fight happened, just so I can watch that. And then I go back to reading. And so even when we got to the point, I think I didn't really start watching a full season until All Stars 2. And the
Okay.
only reason why I had to sit down and tune because Jason said, hey, let's do a
Oh,
podcast.
hey.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I was like, for you, okay.
Yeah.
And so we did the Secret Alliance podcast. So I legit had to commit time to watch it. So I was able to commentate on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very difficult to watch because, again, I'm seeing Bailey, I'm seeing what Davon is going through, and my heart is just breaking into 1,000 pieces. To the point I got so emotional. I just I should have been there to protect them. And it was so emotional for me. So then I'm like, it's just never going to happen. I legit didn't think it was never going to happen. And then when the cookout,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't know, I didn't watch the cookout season because
Oh.
I will get so disappointed. Like you guys, I don't think you guys understand. Like I read religiously, and when I heard of the cookout forming, I'm like, okay, this might be it, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to tune in because every time I tune in, I get so invested, I get emotionally invested, and then I get pissed off. Someone's going to do something stupid. All this is going through my head. So I didn't watch it, but I read, and I'm like, oh my God, they are
They
doing
might do
this.
it.
They might do it. And as it progressed on and on and on, I couldn't believe it was happening. And when they became the final six, it was like, it is done. It
Yeah.
was just a relief. And so I was so happy to see, the fact that this finally happened. And so
Mm-hmm.
to them for sticking together, and Xavier was the first African American winner. So I'm like, okay,
Yep.
But you got me.
You're back.
And then Taylor.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, my girl Taylor, she is gonna win this thing. And I had so high hopes for her. And then I saw what was happening to her.
Oh
And
God, yeah.
again, I'm going through that trigger, and I'm just like, and I think I even tweeted, I said, I just don't think African Americans are going to do well in this game. And it was just hard because she was so, I don't want to say bullied. I think it was just the fact that
Ostracized.
she was ostracized, and it was really, and when I saw my girl crying in a corner, I was done. I was
Yeah.
so done.
Hard to
And
watch.
I was so hard to watch. And I said, I just can't watch this. I can't watch it. So again, I start reading because I don't, it's like one of those, like, I don't want to turn the page and see
Yep.
what's going to be the next chapter, but it was getting good. And I was
Yep.
like, okay, this book is really good. And then as we got towards the end again, I tuned back in, and the fact she won, and I can't tell you the feeling I felt. It was the emotions of, oh my God, and gorgeous, and it was just like the underdog story, and then she won America's favorite player. It was just masterful, and I was just like, okay, all right, you got me back in. And then so it was just one of those things. So I'm one of those scary watchers per se.
Yeah.
I
Right.
tune in sometimes, and sometimes I like tune back out, because if I don't like what I'm seeing, I was like, I don't want to see it. I'm just so scared to watch it. But last season I did tune in quite a
The
bit.
longest season ever.
Right. And the reason being, a lot of people don't know, I am a ridiculously, I mean, you guys have no idea, huge Survivor fan. And when I say
Oh.
Survivor fan, I'm talking about old school Survivor, back in the
Hmm.
day Survivor. And when I heard Cherie was on the show, I'm like, that's my spirit cousin. Because I always
Hmm.
felt like her and I feel like we have similarities on the way we play.
Yep.
And so I was like, that's like them putting Danielle back in the house. Let me watch this and let me see her cook. And
Hmm.
so and then she was there with her son. And then just watching that, those people. And of course, I was part of the kind of twist and the laser.
Yes.
So sorry, you guys, about the multi universe. My
I, it,
accent was
it was
superb.
fine.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
wasn't the worst.
I mean, the Academy Award performance was just like unbelievable. I mean,
Impressive.
it's so impressive. But I was invested then. And then again, when I watch Big Brother, I try to always, I, I always speak from a fan point of view, and I speak from a player's point of view, because I can
Hmm.
give you two sides of the story. Plus, I hate to say, I was the villain on my original season.
Yep.
So a lot of times I can give perspective on how the fans are feeling when they don't like somebody, and how that person who's probably being vilified on
Yep.
certain areas. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people, they deserve it.
Well, they deserve it. Yes, that's different.
Absolutely, and that's different. But I always try to be the voice of reason anytime, and I tried to, like, okay, let's take a look at it. Let's really break it down. I mean, you heard that conversation in the other room. That person didn't. You know what I mean? So
Right.
and people don't understand in Big Brother, it's paranoia.
Hmm.
You're in a different reality, and so you create a different reality in your own world, and nothing anyone can say to you is going to change it, because you're stuck in that house, in that bubble, in that reality.
Yep, yep. And Danielle, you mentioned like you were a villain on your original season. I'm so
Right.
curious, I think you said in interviews you got backlash after that season, but when did the tide turn, or when did you realize, wow, people are really respecting my game? Like in the moment, maybe at the time I was not like appreciated or something, but when did that turn over the years? Because now obviously you're the most revered player ever.
I know. I think it was hard for fans to. I mean, I was pretty. I mean, I'm a female first and foremost, and
Hmm.
in the social world, you want the female to be nice,
Yep.
motherly, the girl next door, and I don't think America was they were
Ready.
ready for something like
You
this.
were ahead of your time, basically.
I was kind of ahead of my time, and I
Yep.
think as the seasons progress, and even I think it got to the point I heard that the producers were giving people who were about to play it, they gave them season 3 to watch, and I
Oh.
those players start speaking up how they start appreciating my gameplay. And then those who start thinking about it, they're like, you know what, maybe she isn't that bad after all. And
Right.
I think it just takes time to appreciate the game. I think I was just too ahead of my time. I think
Mm-hmm.
if I was a male, I think I would have got a different audience per se. I think people would have appreciated me sooner than later. And I think people have learned to appreciate the way I played.
Yep.
And they understand it was raw, it was real, and it was completely organic. I wasn't there trying to get any followers. I was there to
No.
play
Different time.
and win the money. That's all it came down to. And I could care. I hate to say this, but I could care less if I had fans or if I didn't have fans, because the one goal was just to bring home the money.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I that's how I think how things have changed. And even now, fans who probably didn't tune into like season 16, they're like, who's this Danielle chick? Like, what's that about? And then when they go back and watch it, they're like, oh my God, right? And I think that it's just I'm winning new fans that probably were four when I played originally. But it's just crazy just to think that, I'm old, Sharon. I'm
Girl,
old.
I'm old too. I'm getting up there. But and you
Yeah.
don't look old, by the way. I need to
Thank you.
text
Thank
you
you.
later for some secrets. But but yeah, and you said so much that, like, first of all, the Taylor of it all too. I don't know if I'm sure you know, but when I interviewed her before the season, or I sent questions, she was, I mean, she studied your game before going in there. She was really, and I think a lot of people do that now, like you said, in sequester, or even before, they study what you did. And I'm curious, actually, who has played the most Danielle games since you played? Is there anyone that sticks out?
Oh,
It's a tough one.
that is a tough one. I think that when I look at Taylor's win, when I'm looking at the final two,
Hmm.
and I think of Monty, and I think of he played such an exceptional game, but I don't know if it was Monty. I just felt like he had so much going on for him, but I think Taylor's arc
Yeah.
of the social game kind of brought her back into, I don't want to say Monty. It can't be Monty. I can't even say Paul. You know what? You know who? It has to be Tyler.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You know why? Because when you look at Tyler, the way he played, it's almost similar. Secret Alliance,
Hmm.
very good at the social game. He just messed up when he basically betrayed Bailey, right? I
Yeah.
knew when he lost Bailey, he lost the game. And I think when you think about, people can think about, oh, when I did what I did with the Golden Power Vito, with the Marcellus, even though I kind of lost the game right then, but you always think of that pivotal point in the game.
Right.
And I think he going to the end like he did, I just think he just played a phenomenal game. And I think he just did not realize that the social game was severely impacted when he lost Bailey. Like when they were arguing,
Yep.
I was watching it and I was like, he's about to lose this game. He's about to lose this game. I said, Tyler, you need to go make nice with that girl. You need to
Hmm.
go make nice with that girl. She's not feeling you. And the words exchanged at that moment, he, was argumentative, right? And I kept
Yep.
saying, no, pull back,
Rein
pull
it in.
back, ring it in, ring it in. And he just didn't. And I think
Yeah.
at that pivotal moment, I went, damn, he just lost.
Mm.
And so I think with him, I think we played the similar game in regards to fitting well in the social, having a secret alliance, picking a person that you probably to ride with, picking the wrong person to go with today. It's a lot
Yeah.
of different variables, but I think I think our gameplay is kind of similar.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I kind of went to Paul first just because he was also covered on so many sides, like you were in BB3. But
Hmm.
I think that's an interesting analogy. And then also in terms of duos, do you think anyone's done it kind of like you and Jason have done it?
Oh, with the secret duel thing.
Yeah,
The first,
it was so
well,
good.
it's so good.
It's
And
so
you
good.
know
I
what?
went back and watched. I was like, this is so freaking good.
It's so funny. Let me just not a sidebar, but when we're standing there, when we first go in the house, you're looking at people, and so I look at Jason. I'm like, this surfer, this Um, I just thought he was a surfer boy
Right.
because he had like the necklace. I think he had like the
The
infamous soul
puka
patch
shells.
there, the puka shells. I'm like, this little playboy here think he's all that, and I'm judging him. And then he talks and he has a southern accent, and I'm like, oh. And then when I start talking to, and I say this a lot, when he speaks, the heavens do open up, y'all. The
Mm.
rainbow comes, the doves come out, and it's just he's so good. He's such a good
He
guy,
has a
and
good heart. Yeah.
such a good heart. And I just knew he was my person. I just knew I can trust him. But what were you asking me? You asking me,
I was like, has anyone
in a group,
successfully?
I would say, I'm gonna say the Renegades,
Mm-hmm.
right? Memphis and Dan had a secret thing going on there. And I
Yeah.
think they were so under the radar. If you look at Dan, when you see his first game, very quiet.
Oh, yeah. He would avoid talking to anyone
He sit on that. You
with his
see Dan doing
Bible.
this, and he always
Yep.
sit there like this, and I'm like, oh my god. And when him and Memphis start working really well together, and then they were doing like the secret thing, and remember they did the handshake, and
Yep.
it's like, yeah, we're all living for it, right? I think those two possibly were closest to Jason and I's gameplay, quite frankly.
I think
And I
that's
think,
fair.
yeah, I think Dan, because Dan would do little manipulative thing, on the side,
Mm-hmm.
like I was doing, and Memphis was just chilling and just being cool, and Jason in itself was chilling and being cool. Both of
Yep.
them won competitions when they had to, and I think that is about the closest you're going to get. I think I would say the Renegades, Memphis and Dan, definitely.
Okay, that's totally fair. Well, and speaking of your seasons, like when's the last time you've even seen some of your seasons? Have you watched it through recently?
Oh no, because I already know what the ending gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Okay,
You
I
know,
figured.
and All Stars was. I think All Stars was such an amazing season. I would say this:
So good.
if you ask me, loved playing season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like watching season 3.
Fair.
Didn't love playing All Stars, but watched All Stars and said it was phenomenal. So that's my take of it. I thought All Stars was it's such a good season.
Oh, I
Such a good
know.
season.
Like you couldn't have written a lot of it better. Like it was wild to watch. I also went back and rewatched a lot of that.
Yeah.
I do want to ask, there was all these rumors about pre-gaming during BB7. Like, take me back to that place. Was there
Oh,
pre-gaming? Were you talking to people?
oh
What?
yeah.
Yeah, who were you trying to work with going in, and who were you like, I need them out?
First and foremost, let me just put this out in the
Let's set
cosmos.
the record.
Okay, let me set the record straight. When I sign an NDA, I take that very seriously. Okay, so when I signed that, I was not pre-gaming. However,
Mm-hmm.
other people were. So of course, if they're gonna call, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna
Exactly.
listen. So if you guys remember in All Stars, if you guys remember, I denied that I was playing at all the way
Mm,
through. And I kept
okay.
denying. And people were like, and then, I'm stalking, trying to see what's going on, like a troll, like what's going on, who's the rumors. My friend, my buddy, James Ryan.
Yep, I knew it was
So,
good.
so James would call me and he's like, hey, so there's All Star season. I said, oh, are you going to do it? Because, Danielle is a strategist. So I'm playing
Playing
already. I'm
dumb.
playing down. And he's like, yeah. And he's telling me all the dirt, y'all. Like he told me about the Diane and Janelle B. And I'm like, and who else don't like each other? Spill the tea, James. And he's telling me everything. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. Oh my God. And I think we even talked, like I say, if you go in there, you should do this. And oh my God, that, And so he thinking I'm not going to be there. Well, remember, I stopped the internet. And there one day, I'm logging in and they said, the list is leaked. And I'm like, what do you mean the list is leaked? Oh my God. I still remember this because I freaked the F out. It was like, I looked at it and they had my name. I said, how do they know? How do they know? And they said CBS made a mistake when they put the website up. They
Oh,
had our names like in white, but if you took your cursor, the mouse, and highlight it, it lists all the potential people who was going to be on the show. And I saw that and my stomach turned. And I'm like, oh
yeah.
my God, it is out.
Jesus.
So I'm sitting, I remember I was at work and I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my God, what you going to do, Danielle? What you going to do? Because the cat's out the bag.
Yeah, your phone might
Amongst
start
different.
ringing.
James calls.
Ah.
And I'm like, hi, James. Hey, Danielle. Hey, James, what's going on? And he's like, hey, so have you heard? I'm like, wait, what heard what? He said, so the list is out. I said, oh my God, do tell who's on the list. Because I'm still playing the game, y'all. I'm still playing the game. He goes, yeah, and yeah, mother effer, your name's on the list. And I went, oh, well,
Oops.
James, oops. And then he said, yeah, so here's the thing. People saying you're not being honest. And, if you're not being honest, when you get in the house, you're going to be number one target. And I'm like, ugh. So then I went like that. I said, well, James, you know, I would think anyone that was participating in All Stars had to sign an NDA. So I just want to be clear because I'm honoring my NDA with honor and integrity. I'm going to be the number one target? Huh. Then I
Interesting.
said to him, James, you keep asking all these questions, but you didn't ask me one important question. If I am to be in this house, do you have anything to worry about me? And he said, do I have anything to worry about? I said, James, if I was playing, absolutely not. And that was
Mm,
it. So I knew that going into All Stars, it wasn't a surprise that I was standing there.
right.
But James knew he had nothing to worry about against me. So, but
Mm-hmm.
that's how the All Stars came about. I still remember that. So there was pre gaming, absolutely. Was I participating in the pre gaming? No. Was I listening to all the rumors of the pre gamers and alliances? Of course I was. I mean, Chilltown was calling probably everybody. I think they probably would have called me if they had my number. But I really stuck with the NDA. I do follow the rules, people, and I
I
was
mean,
very adamant about it.
we know that because you weren't leaked for the Traitors, and you're a rule follower, and I appreciate and I respect that.
Yep.
You know. So
Y'all didn't
some
see that
people.
coming.
No, I want to get into it in a little bit later, but like I was very happy to see your name on that list. Well, real quick about BB7, or I have a couple BB3 questions as well. But BB7, speaking of James Ryan, the infamous jury breakout. Can you just take me back there for a minute?
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking
Come
about?
on, come on.
Okay, so here's the thing. We were itching to get out the house.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? They let us out. Crazy. Now, of all the troublemakers, who do you think was the biggest troublemaker in jury?
I
Take a
mean,
guess. Take
Dr.
a
Will?
guess.
I don't
Oh
know.
my God, you are
Yeah.
100% correct. So we break out where they said, we're going to take you guys golfing. I'm like, great. I don't know how to golf, but we're out, right? So we're out. And somehow Will, James, and Chicken George and I,
Weirdest group.
we're this group. Somehow we were able to get away from the handlers. And there was even one moment there was like, because it was like a master plan community where it's a course and there's houses all around. And I think we came over these frat boys, and I think we're like, hey, can you see Chicken George? Our chicken man could do a belly flop in your pool. Like they had no idea who we were. And like Chicken George does this belly flop in these frat boys' house. And we're just laughing and we're just giggling and everything. And then so
Oh my
we
God.
didn't break out the house. We were with handlers. We just happened to be separated. So the next day, we had quite a bit to drink. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't there a bar night or something?
We had quite a. I think if they look at the receipts, I think it was the biggest Taco Bell order.
Stop.
And I think we spent over $500. It was so crazy. We were all like drunk, ordering tacos, 20 tacos, and we're just eating. And I remember the next morning. So Will and I were like in the kitchen, and one of the handlers came. He goes, and he looked white, and we are like, "What's going on? What's going on?" He said, "It got out that you guys broke out the jury house." So Will and I went, "Oh well, they so got Howie. That's Howie. They got, you know, they didn't get, Will and myself because we're
Right.
masterminds, right?" And so Will and I were like, "Oh, it's totally Howie, right?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." And the handler opens up his laptop and oh yeah, he turned the computer and it's just me and Will like this.
Oh my God. Why? There's cameras?
Busted. It was a video of Will and I just going like we're out and about, and I'm like, oh my God, we're so busted. And so the guy's like, you guys are in so much trouble. They're talking about kicking you out. And Will and I was like, yeah, you guys are not going to end this show without us not voting. And Will's like, you know what? That's fine. Get the vehicle. I can leave right now. He's calling their bluff, right? Typical Dr. Will and stuff like
Typical.
that. But it was so funny because we just knew it was Howie busted. And when they showed our, we went, oh, we're so busted. And so that was how the jury, we didn't break out. We were escorted. We just happened to get separated from our handlers for a bit. And we ended up at the bar singing karaoke.
And now it's a great story.
It's
So,
an amazing story. Totally.
oh my
So much
God.
fun. It was so much fun. We had a really good time in the jury house.
I mean, that cast was just amazing. And this is like a burning question. I'm sure you get a lot, but like, who from BB3 and then who from BB7 would you say you keep in touch with the most?
So from BB3, I did keep in touch with Jason. I was at his wedding.
Of
I was
course,
at
yeah.
Amy's wedding. And then as the years progress, and as Marcellus and I did All Stars, Marcellus and I became close. And then Lisa too. Every
Mm-hmm.
now and then I would hear from Lisa, but pretty much everybody. I mean, I call him Papa Bear, but Jerry will always send me Christmas cards and everything.
Oh,
Even though they didn't vote for me to win, I really try to make sure. I mean, it was the best time in my life, and one of the best summers I've ever had. And I met some amazing people, and so it was important to me, and that they forgave me,
of
that we
course, yeah.
still became friends. So I would say between the Amy, Marcellus and I, we're just not as talking as much as we used to, but we, and Jason as well. And then, Lisa every now and then, but, it's just funny. Like I said, I always grin when I think about that summer. It was just amazing. And, I follow Kiara. I see, she's a mom of 3, Lori too. I pretty much know what everyone's doing. The only person
Social media helps.
social media, except Eric. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know if he's still a firefighter. And of course,
Right.
I don't talk to Roddy at all.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, yeah.
Oh.
And All Stars, like I said, I get along with everybody. I really
Mm-hmm.
try not to have too much drama. And my thing is, even if this is what I hate about the new Big Brother, is that they get on Twitter and they fight on Twitter
Yep.
and and it's just like, I think it's family, and that's the way I look at it. So I think it's important that if you have a beef with someone, pick up the phone and have a conversation. I'm not one to put stuff on Twitter. I try not to. If I have an issue with someone, I think it's only a respectful thing to give them a call and talk it out.
Right.
That's my 2 cents. But I knew y'all fans be loving that stuff. Y'all be like
Oh, they
eating
eat
it
it
up.
up.
They
Yep.
totally eat
Yeah.
it up. And I'm just like, I'll be like, I try to be like the mom, like, you should not argue.
Yeah. Well, just
Don't
pick
do
up the
that.
phone.
Pick up
Yeah.
the phone. So yeah,
Okay.
it's inevitable.
Well, okay. So speaking of the people that didn't vote for you, obviously this is like everyone knows that the Big Brother jury is sequestered essentially because of you.
Of course.
Because after during your season they didn't love what they saw because they got to see everything, and it is a hard pill to swallow, and then have to vote for someone. Um, do you look at that like a little bitter that you missed out on that? You were like, or you're like, you know what? At least they changed it because of me, and people recognize I was kind of, you know.
Well, so here's a couple things. First of all, if you look at the voting count, a lot of people say you would have won if it was a sequestered jury. That's not necessarily true.
Mm,
Big Brother is a popularity contest, right? And so it all depends who is evicted, who they believe should win, and who has the bigger voice around that. And at that time, the jurors can talk. They can
yep.
travel and provide insight on who they think should win or not win. So I don't know if that would have changed everything. I think it all depends
Mm,
who I was sitting next to.
right.
And you always hear the $1 million question. Why did you guys take Lisa? Right.
Yeah. Over Amy. Yep. Everyone
So,
says.
and I'm just going to make very simple, you guys. Jason and I got to the point where, people don't forget Amy's a comp beast.
Mm,
She's a lucky
luck.
comp
Yeah.
beast. And I know for me, and I've told this to her, and I love her dearly. I said, Amy, I cannot sit next to you and lose.
Oh.
I think I would have lost it. So Jason and I felt that because she was on such a winning streak, we felt like we had a better chance going against Lisa. And at the same time, we felt if we could not win the game, we wanted Lisa to win.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people don't understand that, but again, it's Big Brother. You don't know how it is when you're in that social bubble, and how you feel, but that's a decision we made together.
Mm-hmm.
And we were okay, with taking Lisa, and we felt like she she was in our corner. And and I would say this to anyone. I know people are like, oh, Lisa shouldn't have won the game and all that
I
stuff.
love Lisa. People need to
Yeah,
chill.
like, so here's the thing. Yes, Jason and I played the game from day one. We played, hella hard, right? But Lisa played a brilliant end game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Brilliant. She clocked Jason and I at the end. She beat our butts in that competition.
Yep.
And she took Jason. She knew to take me and not to take Jason. So you got to give her flowers, period.
I
And I will
period.
always give her flowers. Do I think she should have won? No. I think
Of
I should have won.
course.
But she played the perfect game for that audience at the time.
At
And
that
I would
time.
say that to any winner that has won Big Brother. I said, you
Agree.
guys, I get it. They played the perfect game for that season, and
Mm-hmm.
they got the votes. No, regardless of what you feel, you hear about Paul, you hear about
Yep.
Tyler, you hear about a lot of the other people, but they played the perfect game. Even Ian played the perfect game because Dan played a different game. He messed up on the jury votes. He didn't
Yep.
work the jury. And of all people, he should know better, right? Because he knew when he brought Michelle in, I need to talk to her, when to vote, da 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 da.
Yeah, he knew
And
that. Yep.
he knew that, and he
It's
failed
fair.
on that aspect of the game. So when you guys say Dan should have won, no, he shouldn't have.
Mm.
He shouldn't have, because he did not play the jury like Ian did, right? And Ian's savage. I don't care what anyone says. I think he's amazing. And then,
Love
Joshua
Ian.
as well. Joshua's goodbye messages was quite telling, right? And so people, you have to understand, yes, you might think a person that you love and you see them doing all the behind the scenes, but for that jury, that person that's playing the game, they don't have that same privilege that you do as a watcher.
It's
So
easy to
they're
say from outside.
but in their mind, when you see what's going down, yes, Josh should have beaten Paul.
Yep.
Absolutely. However, do I think Nicole should have beaten Paul? Absolutely not. Absolutely
Oh
not.
God. Okay.
God, no.
Okay.
But that's my opinion, right? But
Mm-hmm.
does Nicole deserve to win? She played the perfect game for that season to
Yep.
win. And so I give kudos to all the winners. I never want to take their crown away, because they did something that I have never been able to do in Big Brother. And so who am I to sit there and judge, but to appreciate their gameplay? So
I
as
love
much
that
as,
perspective.
I mean, you fans, you guys can say all you want, but they look at their bank account, and their bank account says otherwise. Therefore, they don't care.
Exactly. The check cleared,
The
so
check
we're good.
cleared, so we're good. We're good.
Okay. Well, speaking of Big Brother, are you completely done, or if they call you for like a legend season or something, are you picking up the phone? I mean, you're picking up the phone, right? Come on, Danielle.
I'll listen, but you guys, I'm done with Big Brother. You guys, there's no way they can bring me back in that house.
Three
There's just no way.
weeks shortened season. No, you're breaking a lot of people's hearts right now. But I get
You
it though.
guys,
It's a lot. It's
I
a.
just, it's a lot. I
Mhm.
mean, it.
Well, have you been called over the years? I have to imagine you were.
I was called for All Stars 2, and I
Right.
turned
Yeah.
that down for obvious reasons. You know, the season that I would have came back on and they didn't call me on
Which
was
one?
the coaches season. In fact, I was offended.
Yeah, missed
Offended.
opportunity.
I would have played that one in a heartbeat. That's the season that I thought I would have excelled in. And that's the season Ian won, right? And I totally would have
Yeah.
picked him on my team. I totally would have picked him on my team, because I was like, oh my God, I love the
Well,
quiet
we
game,
can
guys.
swap out you for Boogie. That's fine.
Yeah, it was.
At this
But
point.
no, with Big Brother, it's such. So here's the thing, you got the live feeds, you got social media. It's very difficult for me to say I'm going to put Danielle out to America again, right? And then it
Hmm.
just takes, and I'm not saying, with cancel culture, I say one stupid thing, and
Yep.
I'm not saying I'm going to say anything stupid, but what if I do? And next thing you know, and there's no fans like Big Brother fans. You guys could
I
be quite
know.
nasty sometimes. I mean, when you guys love us, you're amazing. But man, when y'all hate us, oh, you drag us, and it's a drag that goes on for years,
Yep.
years. So it's really difficult for me to say, yeah, I'll play Big Brother again. And even the producers laughed. They said they knew to get me back on Reindeer games, it had to be something short because I just laughed when they called me. They're like, "So Big Brother Reindeer games, it's competition based." I'm like, you know, I don't win competitions, but I'm listening, you know. And I thought it was, you know, I thought it'd be fun, and I knew I didn't have a chance in hell to win. I was like, "There's no way I'm winning this,"
But
right?
it was
But
fun. Like it was way fun to more fun to watch than you would think. Like I was like, what is this? But
I
I
know
think
you
it's a
think it
good
was
time.
corny, but it was so fun. Well, let me just say this: it's fun to watch. It was awful to play. And I think because for us, Big Brother players, and this is just to any future players, if they do reindeer games too, imagine a double eviction every day. That's all I got to say.
I
That's
mean,
how it was. Double
yeah,
eviction every day.
go, go, go. There's no
Every day.
stopping.
And you don't have time to strategize. Because remember, we weren't staying in a house. We go back to the
Right.
hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very fast paced game that we're just not accustomed to because, Big Brother's like a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep.
So you only have certain amount of time to check in with people or they'll make miscalculations. And next thing you know, you're on a hamster wheel and you're going home. So that's how that goes.
It's yeah, I do obviously have to ask. At the time, I don't know how you feel now. It's obviously like, I don't know, 6, 7 months removed. But at the time you were, you were upset because that didn't work in your favor when Brittany threw you in the hamster wheel. So where do you guys, I mean, it also gets complicated because you're both on the Traitors now, so I know you can't say everything, but like, do you feel differently now, or you kind of feel the same, like you're pretty bummed that she threw you in there?
No, the what I felt on reindeer games, I was bummed because
Mm-hmm.
I thought Brittany and I, so a lot of people don't know, Brittany and I talked before reindeer games. See, people don't get that. So
Right.
people, if you watch reindeer games, watch it again. You don't see me in confessionals saying anything about Brittany because every time I was talking about Brittany in confessionals, I was like, that's my girl. That's my ride and die.
Mm.
Every come up. Me and my girl Brittany. Me and my girl Brittany. She's doing this. We doing that. We're gonna run this. Women together. So Brittany and I had a lot of conversations. I told her that I was really tired because when you start watching Big Brother, it was the alpha males getting the females to turn against each other. That's what happened to Janelle and I in All Stars. And I always regret the fact that if we would have just worked together, we would have just killed it,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And the fact that we just didn't, and it's typical women. So in my head, and then when I watched Brittany in her season, what the brigade did to her, what what happened to
Fair.
Diane, all this stuff was going on. So Brittany knew how I was pro women. I was pro
Mm.
women. So when I go into Big Brother reindeer games, of course Xavier, Taylor, and Josh bring me into their alliance, but to me that was a faux alliance. My person was Brittany, and I was like, okay, let me keep y'all, babe, but Brittany's my girl. And
Mm.
so when she threw me in, it was shocking. Um, it was very shocking, and I was
Yeah.
hurt. I'll be honest, I was deeply hurt because I wasn't expecting it from her. But she said she miscalculated, whatever she wants to say. Maybe it's unconscious bias on her part in a lot of different avenues.
Mm.
But it was very difficult for me to get past that, going through that with her because I love Brittany,
Mm-hmm.
adored her. So it was not like a typical game for me where I'm going in with strangers and I know them. I felt like Brittany, I really thought, I felt she was my friend.
Right. Okay.
And when I say friend, push game aside, I
Right.
just felt
Outside.
outside, I was endeared to Brittany.
Mm.
So when that happened, people are like, I see how you're acting and she just did it for game, but I know you guys like, is this the same girl that says nothing personal, just business? And I get that, you guys. However, before reindeer game wasn't a thought, Brittany and I just felt like we had a good friendship. And we spoke, we hung out because we did the laser thing.
Yep.
And she knew how I was about pro women. And even then, before we went to reindeer games, I said, okay, girl, it's 5 men against 4 girls. The ladies
Right.
got to stick together. And that I was so pro female on reindeer games. And, and I told even X, I said, X, yeah, you were my guy, but I really wanted you to go home because you're a comp piece. You know what I mean? And I was keeping it real. So, but it didn't come out that way when you guys watch it on the show. And that's why I had so
Well,
much
it's edited.
attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I was so upset. So I just wanted
Mm.
everyone to understand where I was coming from. And I get she made a decision based on her gameplay. And she said it was miscalculated. I said, yes, it was, because I would have never done that to her. So it was just hard. I mean,
Yeah.
again, if she would have went home, I would have been like, okay, better her than me because I'm not stupid. But at the same time, I was hurt. And if you watch that episode, I start getting like emotional because I thought my girl was going home. Like that's how much I was endeared to her. So I know, like I said, a lot of people are like, oh, Danielle, you just being bitter. But it was a different connection that I had with her, and that's why it hurt.
Yeah.
So just put game aside. I get it, but that's how I was feeling at that moment.
Yeah. I mean, strategic masterminds still are human, guys. Like,
Right? No, but I took it so personal because I was just like, what happened? Like, what happened?
mm,
But it was one of those, remember, Reindeer so fast paced. Maybe I
yep.
should have checked in with her more often. Maybe I should have shared more information. But remember, I'm used to secret alliances where you work the room, I work the room, we get together now and then, compare little notes, and then let's split again, and then we get together again. So that's what I'm used to doing. And
Fair.
I guess with her, I should have read that more. I should have
Mm.
spoke to her, and she was like, well, I saw you hanging out with Xavier. I said, I was hanging out with him because he was pissed we put him in the Santa showdown. So I had to like make nice to him so he would not be upset. But if I would have shared that more with her and gave her more information, possibly that probably would have never happened. But I
Mm.
made I assumed or made an assumption that Brittany and I were still in line with the plan. And that was not the case. But I knew I was in trouble and what made it so hard, Sharon, was the fact that Taylor volunteered to go in.
I know. Yeah.
And then so I'm thinking, oh, well, she's gonna put Josh in because
That,
girls against the guys. Josh. There's no way Josh is gonna do this in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I think for me, when she put me in, I think I was so hurt and taken aback. I couldn't see
you
anything.
were flustered at,
I
yeah.
was so flustered. And I get so angry. So when people say, hey, Brittany cost you the game, I said, not technically. I cost myself the game because I should have got it together because I was really close, really
Mm.
close. And I
Yeah.
think if I would have concentrated and not being so pissed off and so hurt, I probably would have came back in the house. But then again, I'm like, it's probably best I didn't come back in the house because that girl would have caught a wrath. So thank 8 pound baby Jesus that didn't happen. So it's all good, y'all.
Yeah.
It's all good. So everything works out for a reason in life. That's all I
Of
think.
course. Of course. Well, I know you can't say like anything about the Traitors, but is it fair to say that your relationship, like we might see a continuation of it, or like it might pop, because
You would just have to
yeah,
tune in.
I figured. Well, what we can say is because the cast was announced that you're on it. And I remember you tweeting that you're like, if Traitors call me, when you got that call, were you an immediate yes, or were you hesitant at all?
It's like, duh, what took you all
Duh.
so long? What
Right.
took you so long? And I was called late.
Oh, interesting.
Late. I think I might have been somebody's replacement.
Okay. Who is Danielle Reyes replacing, please?
I don't know. It's just weird because I was called like late March, you
Hmm.
guys. And I heard everybody was called in January. So I was like,
Interesting.
um, yeah, because I could, it was weird. I was like, I guess I don't have it anymore. I guess I'm out of the loop
No,
and
get out of here.
I'm so old. That's what I kept thinking. I was like, I guess I just don't have that much of an impact anymore. So they're never
I
gonna call me. So
I
Survivor, here I come. I was just like, it was
well,
crazy.
well, first of all, my theory for that is like maybe they just assumed that you would say no, but then saw you on reindeer games maybe, and then we're like, I don't know. Because
They
it
saw
just doesn't make
Brittany.
sense.
They saw Brittany around there
That's
again.
true. But I thought they figured Brittany might be on the cast way before that because of Janelle and Rachel were on the show and they probably, I don't know.
Possible.
Who knows?
It's
Just
possible. Who
what I
knows?
think.
But they
Uh,
called.
well,
I
I'm
said,
so
I said
excited to
yes,
watch.
yes, without hesitation.
Wow. And knowing like I'm sure the first two seasons, the Big Brother people have not been doing well on this show. I don't know if it's because of this gamers narrative that they have, but was that a concern at all that you're like gonna be looked at just, oh, she's on Big Brother, she's from Big Brother, she's got to be strategic, even if because I'm I'm assuming most of that cast like doesn't know Big Brother, but again, I know you can't say anything. But yeah,
Just watch in
Danielle's
January, y'all.
okay.
That's all I gotta say.
Um, okay, well, one question you might be able to answer, and if you can't, totally fine. But Dan, let's talk about Dan's game on the Traitors on season 2. Like, he went on that show. I'm a huge Dan fan. You know, he came out with some criticism about his game and people saying, oh, it should affect his Big Brother legacy, which personally I don't think it should. But did you look at Dan at all and say, oh God, I hope this doesn't happen to me or anything like that? Or were you like, I don't care?
Absolutely. Well, I'm watching. So first of all, I only watched. Okay, so quickly. So when
Yeah.
I played Big Brother 3, I never watched Big Brother
Oh,
ever.
okay.
I want to thank Vicky, my coworker at the time. I don't know your last name, but if you're watching this, please, I owe you my reality
Oh,
career because of her. She begged me to audition for Big Brother, so I didn't watch it. Um, Traitors, you would think I would go watch season 1. I think I watched season 2 2 weeks before.
oh my God. Love it. You're like, let me catch up.
Let me catch up. So I watched season 2, and when I was watching Dan, I went, here's the thing about Dan.
Mm,
Dan's not the most charismatic guy. He's just not. Yes, he missed you of, whatever. He's trying to
hmm.
get out of trouble, but he doesn't have that charisma. He
That's
doesn't
fair.
have that Dr. Will
Like, oh, the
panache.
warmth either.
The
Just
the the
like,
it's yeah, he was a coach, but there's something about you. So I'm watching him playing this game. And I was like, well, he looks like Dan, a Big Brother. Of course he's a traitor. I mean, it was so evident. And I was like, oh
right.
my God, they know he's a traitor, right? I was like, it was so evident. And then so when I watched that and then I see Janelle in there, I'm like, okay, girl, so he's a traitor. So you stay close to a traitor, right, girl?
Hmm.
You don't want to suss him out. You want to be his BFF. And I was just like, what are y'all doing? I was just like,
Yeah.
and then the scene, I think I even texted Janelle because I thought it was the funniest thing. I gave her a hard time. The scene when she's trying to pitch to Alan, she's like, people trust me. And I'm like, no, they don't. And then she was like, and I'm a good liar. I'm like, no, you're not. And I was like, you're trying to lie right now. And it's cute, Janelle, but we know Janelle. And I text her, I said, girl, you know good and well, you cannot be that liar. And she goes, you know me so well, Danny. And then I even gave her a hard time with, I think the first mission, how she went for that shield.
Yeah.
And I said, girl, it's part of the season 6 DNA.
Yep.
Y'all got to win comps. Y'all don't know what it is to throw. They can't throw a
Yep.
comp if they just can't do it. They just can't. They have to win because that's how we said we either won or we went home. So we
Hmm.
win or go home. So I get it, but I was just laughing. I was watching that season. I was cracking up. I was like, poor so basically Janelle and Dan played exactly how they played Big Brother.
Big Brother 14. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And Rachel, and then you didn't, I don't know if you watched the first season, which you should go back if you're a Suri fan because she freaking kills it. But
All right.
Rachel kind of does the same thing with Cody. It's like she knows he's a traitor and then sort of outs him. And I'm like, Rachel, like,
What are you doing?
keep it
And
in your
then
back
how did
pocket.
Cody become a like? There's like
Yeah, that was a bad part.
when I talked to Cody at Reindeer Games, like, why were you a traitor? He said, I thought I wanted to be one because I thought it'd be fun. I said, it's not in your DNA.
Yeah,
Why would you do that? You're such a nice guy. He goes, I was miserable. Danielle, I was so miserable, and I was just
he was.
laughing at
He
him.
admits it. Yeah,
He said, and so I didn't see season 1. I probably will go back and watch it eventually. But yeah.
I love that. Well, so you mentioned Survivor. You would do Survivor if they call you?
Heartbeat.
All right.
Without
Someone
hesitation.
clip this, send it to Jeff Probst. This needs to happen.
If
Like,
they do the Challenge USA, heartbeat without
oh,
hesitation.
really?
And I like the Challenge USA because it's that mentality. Even though you go down in a pit, which I should have had that mentality when I played Reindeer Game, it's up to you if you're going to go home.
I
So if
mean,
you're gonna put me in a
yeah,
pit, let's get it on.
yeah.
You and I 1-on-1. It's up to you.
Mm-hmm. I
So
don't
you
know if
can
they're
be.
bringing that back though. That's the only
I know.
thing.
I wish they would. But I'm probably too old. I keep saying that.
Whatever. No, get out of here. You could do reindeer games. I'm sure you guys got beat up during that. I heard.
Yeah, we
So,
kind of did. But yeah, Survivor. So a lot of people don't know. I actually auditioned for Survivor. I want to say 3, but maybe it was just 2 times because it's so long ago. Yeah, they didn't even call me.
What?
No call. Mm-mm. And
And
in fact, I was getting ready to audition again for Survivor, and Vicky, whoever
uh
you are, Vicky, find me, girl, because
shout
I
out
need to
Vicky.
thank you, Vicky. I don't know who you. And Vicky was like begging me. She said, Danielle, please do Big Brother. I said, what's the name? What this thing? Are y'all ready for this? This is funny. I said, tell me about the show. Show me what's about the show. She said, you're in a house and there's cameras everywhere. I'm like, in the toilet area? She goes, yeah. I was like, oh no, I'm done. No. She's like, no. They don't show it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna have no one see me wipe my ass. No, no, thank you. She's like, no, it's gonna be great. And then she goes, so I said, all right, when this is how long ago. When's the VHS? Those Google it because some of y'all don't know what the hell that is. When is the VHS due? And it was a Wednesday night. I still remember it was a Wednesday night, and it had to be delivered by Friday. So that means I went home and then I went, okay, it's due on Friday, so I have to go tape this tonight, girl. She said, Danielle, like she was begging me. I went,
Wow.
okay, and I said, all right, how much? This is the arrogance.
Mm.
How much is it? She's all $500,000. I'm like, that's it.
You're like, I'm used to a million. I watched Survivor.
I want to be on Survivor. I want the $1 million. And I said,
Yeah.
okay. Now tell me again. Tell me the game again. Now tell me again. She said, all right, every week HOH, and then they nominate people. I said, okay. So I just have to make sure I'm never nominated. And she goes, no, that never happens. I said, I'll never get nominated.
Well,
And she's
and
like, no. She said, Danielle, you're going to get nominated. I said, no, I won't. I'm not going to get nominated. Let's see. And I looked up the rules. That night, I did my VHS, stuck it in the mail, blessed it. And I told her the next day at work, she's like, did you mail it? I said, I got it off in time. I said, if I get the call and I can get in front of those producers, it's done.
you knew.
So I knew. I just had to get in front of them because I'm a salesman, right? I was like, I'm gonna close them, right? So yeah, once I was in front of those
Wow.
producers, I just knew I was meant to be on that show. And I remember at the end of my video, my audition tape, I said, if you thought Dr. Will was something, wait till you get a load of me.
Ooh, okay.
And that was it. I went,
So you
bye.
and the rest is history. What seasons of Survivor then? I guess it was the early seasons that you applied to.
Yeah, I was, Lex, Tom,
Yep,
Boston
yep.
Rob. I remember Visipia beating Boston Rob. All that. Ethan, Heidi, Jenna,
Mm-hmm.
All Stars, Amber. Boston Rob. I mean, all that. I think I fell off probably. I don't know if it was Todd. And then I saw Kim Spalding, who I think was brilliant watching her play. My
I
favorite,
fell off around there too.
yeah, I think my favorite winner, the one winner that I just like, no one gives this man credit for his game on Survivor. And I know I'm gonna throw this name, and you're like, who? What? Chris Dot? Is it Daughtry?
Yeah, I think it's
The
Daughtry.
trucker from the Ohio.
Yeah.
To watch that man play that game, if you watch it again, you guys, because that man, as was her name, Scout, she's like, you're such a bullshitter, and I was like, he is, but he knew to continue to play. Even at the tribal council, he was still playing the game, and the fact he was able to flip, like, I am impressed. Like, to me, watching that game was just so brilliant. I thought it was so impressive. I
Now
just loved it.
I'm gonna go back and watch this. One of the seasons I really never really
You should
rewatched.
watch it. There was one scene where I think they brought the family, and the family got to play with them for immunity.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, his wife was with them, and he told her, if I don't win this, I'm going home. And I'm like, you are so going home. I was like, he's so dead. And I don't think he did win it, but that man had the gift of gab. Oh my God. When you watch it and you're like, how's he going to get out of this? And he BS his way out of that again. And he BS his way to $1 million. It was just genius to watch. I loved it.
Okay. Well, now I'm
I
gonna go
loved it.
watch it.
So him, people always say, who's your two Survivor winners that you just bow down to? Him and Kim Spalding
Yeah,
are
I love
the ones. Kim
Spalding.
was
Yeah,
just
she's
so telling. Like that scene, almost like Maggie-ish. It's like,
yeah, bringing.
when they had that one competition when they basically said, who do you trust more? And everyone was saying Kim. I'm like, this girl do they know she
Mm-hmm.
gonna win $1 million? And she was just brilliant. just a mat and good in competitions. She was just all around, just a good player. And I'm just totally impressed with her gameplay.
Yep. She knew how to hurt everyone. Like everyone loved her. They were all, Kim was my number one. Everyone had Kim as her number one. So.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's get her a check for $1 million, which they did, basically.
Any other shows that you've been contacted for or just would want to play, like Amazing Race? Has that ever come up, or any of those
No,
shows?
I don't want to do Amazing Race.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to do it. It's because first and foremost, I just couldn't do it. The traveling and I listen to what entails what it, even talking to Janelle, making fun of her and Brittany on Amazing Race, and just getting their feedback, and even Allison, if you guys are asking, that's who I call Allie Bear. She was telling me what she went through with Amazing Race. So I have no desire. I thought I wanted to do Amazing Race until I spoke with them about it, and I was like, yeah, I don't. No, I'm done. Nope.
No. I would never do the height stuff, shaving my head. I don't know. None of that stuff for me. Thanks.
Oh, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm that girl. I'll do it. But I'm just saying, the lack of sleep and
constant traveling. Yeah.
So, Boston Rob fan, right? When I used to watch Amazing Race like religiously, but that scene when him and Amber, and this is when I stopped watching it. When they got on that plane, they get on the plane and the door's shut, y'all. Now, what's the rule? What's the rule on the planes? When the door's shut, that's it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, they won. Oh my God, they're going to win. Yay. Nope, they opened the doors. And I'm like, that's so sussy. I was just, so after that, I couldn't watch it anymore. I was like,
okay.
Yeah. I was rooting for Amber and Boston Rob to win that leg of that season of Amazing Race. And it was just so unsettling, because if they would have kept that door shut, that plane would have taken off, and I guarantee you they would have won the Amazing Race. And
they dominated that whole season.
The whole season. And then they opened. The rule is, once the door shut on the airplane, it doesn't open.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what happened, but you're right. It was something toward the end, like that.
Roll the tape.
Yeah, yeah.
And after that, I'm like, I'm not watching Amazing Race anymore. I was done. I was like, I'm done. I was so bitter.
It is kind of cool to think that, like, in 2024 now, we have Danielle Reyes and Boston Rob on the same show. That's going to be cool to watch. Like, and you're a Survivor fan, so like seeing a couple Survivors there.
Huge. So I was like I was geeking out.
I'm sure.
Like,
but were you good at holding it? I feel like you could hold it in, the geeking out.
Or were you? Yeah. Well, no. Well, it was like I was just so geeked out because they were just so like, who was it? It's Tony, who's like the king of Survivor, who won $3 million. Just so you guys know, he won $3 million. Not one, but $3 million. And you got Jeremy, the inventor of the meat shield. It's just, and then you got, and I wasn't too familiar with Carolyn, to be honest with you. I just knew she was wacky.
Yes.
I spent a lot. I keep saying Bam Bam, but it's Jam Jam.
Jam Jam.
Yeah, because I think because I met Bam, who was on Traitors, I think 1 or 2. So every time I say names, I always get it confused. But I hung out with him, and he was telling me, what happened on his season. So I'm just like, this is all crazy. Like Selling Sunset, Chriselle, hello.
And she's a huge Big Brother fan. I mean,
I didn't even know that. So I like, listen, I was geeking out, just totally geeking out. Like I was like, all these housewives and all these people. I'm like, this is just overwhelming of all these amazing people. Oh my God.
I'm so excited to watch. And then
it's going to be a good season, I think.
And so the last time you were on TV or on Big Brother was 2006, and then you played Reindeer games. I mean, now there's social media. Now it's totally different. And now you're on the Traitors. Yeah, when are fan interactions different as well? Like, is it weird now that it's all over Twitter? Like, what was the difference, I guess?
I guess. Well, I think I'm kind of unique because I'm old school, before social media was so rampant. And people will know, fans know, I was not about a person that opened my social media. A lot of fans were like, she won't accept me. I'm like, no, it's private. was 20 years ago,
Yep.
just close friends and family. And then I decided to kind of let my guards down because I realized I was doing a lot of charity events, and I was like, I gotta be more open to, get fans to, participate and donate to these charity events for good causes. And so I started opening myself up more. So when Traitors hit, I was like, oh, wow, this is big.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh
I think
boy.
it's I
So
think it's one of the
yeah,
most popular shows on Peacock. I mean, it's huge.
yeah. It's gonna. So I don't know what to expect. Like I said, I just wait to January.
Whatever. The
That's
check
all I
cleared,
got.
guys. The check cleared, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. God bless Peacock.
I
Call
love you,
me
Danielle.
again. I say I love Peacock because they know how to take care of them. Peacock take care of people.
Mm-hmm. I
Like
heard. That's what I'm
really take
hearing.
care of people. And when I say take care of people, they really want to make sure people's mental health is good. They flew me out, British Airways, business class. Like I
Right.
felt pampered. I felt pampered.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, oh, this is nice. This is nice.
Not bad at
Yes,
all.
not bad at all. So yeah, like I said, they take care of their people financially and mentally, and they just make sure you're just taken care of. They have a thing called wellness, and they want to make sure you're doing well, and I do appreciate that from them.
Yeah. Other networks take notice. I mean, that's important.
You're right.
Well, Danielle, honestly, I could talk to you all day, but I don't want to steal your time. And as we wrap up, the one thing I want to like leave on is sort of talking about your legacy because rarely in the Big Brother community, and we all know this, do people agree on anything. But if you ask 10 people who their favorite Big Brother players or the best I mean, your name comes up all the time. So you're revered in this community. It's very rare to have that. Can you talk to me a little bit about like being in that position and what that feels like just to have like just this beloved fandom?
It's weird. It's so weird. It really is weird. I sit there and it's quite overwhelming at times. I just don't, it's even when I call Big Brother family, other players, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, oh my God. And they go, oh my God, it's Danielle. And it's so weird. It's so weird to me. I'm like, I'm just Danielle. What are you talking about? I didn't even win. And what are you talking about, Jag? You just won, $750,000. Why are you tripping? It's just, it's so, and I do appreciate the fans. I do appreciate, um, what has happened to me in my life because of it. I made career changes because of Big Brother, and I've been truly blessed. I don't curse my blessing. Even the jury, thank you, because I think if you didn't vote the way you did, I don't think my name would have still been out there. Thank you for making me a legend. So
Oh, I just got like the chills.
yeah, it's one of those things that I think over the years, and players will learn because it took over years for me to go up and down and peaks and valleys of my origin story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do appreciate the fans. I even do appreciate the haters. As long as if you hate and you could back up the hate, because I will come for you. You need to
Provide the
explain your
evidence.
hate. Provide the evidence, and I do appreciate that. So again, there's no fans like Big Brother fans. You guys are crazy and I love it. You guys are so crazy and I love all of you guys. You guys are so crazy. And it's crazy when you talk to them after you get out, they go, on day 45, when you were standing in the kitchen in your pink robe, and
Oh
you
my
had the
God.
coffee in your hand, and Jason was, and they'll, I mean, to the T, and you're like, that's creepy, but keep talking, So
Yeah.
you guys are invested with the live feeds, and I do appreciate it. And again, I was thankful that Traders did call me, and yeah, that's all
Ugh,
I gotta say.
you're an icon, Danielle. I mean, I can't say anything more or less about it. It's just like this is a dream interview, so I really do appreciate you taking the time as well.
Anytime. I can't wait to see or read about this season because I'll read about it
Yes.
and
Yes.
just tune in. And I hope the ladies get
Let's
it together.
one day, Danielle. I hope so. I mean,
Can we just all get along, ladies?
I
Can we just all
know.
get along? It's always one. One
Yeah.
person ruins it all. But hey, a lady won Big Brother Reindeer game, so I was thankful for that. So It is
Very
what it
true.
is. And I do appreciate you being patient with me. I'm
Of
glad to speak to
course.
you finally. One day I'll see you
Anytime.
face to face
Yes.
and we'll hug it out and everything like that. And you guys, I can't wait for Traitors to come.
So pumped.
That's all I got to say.